atmosphere. We're at 400,000 feet, traveling 34,800 feet per second. Time to splashdown, 13 minutes, 10 seconds.
This is incredible to witness, and Susan, I gather that's some of the heat right there.
Yes, that's the plasma.
The plasma and the heat surrounding this capsule.
And as predicted, we've entered our communications blackout.
Is what leads to the blackout.
This will be a 6-minute blackout period. No voice, no data from the crew.
No voice, no data from the crew, as we're hearing from NASA right now. Dr. Hakeem Oluseyi, an astrophysicist, science educator, has been with us for our coverage these last 10 days. And Hakeem, you've been great throughout. This is one of the most anxious times of the entire journey.
This is the true test of our trajectory.
Absolutely it is. I am sitting on the edge of my seat just like the rest of you, waiting to see these parachutes deploy and a safe splashdown.
Aircraft in the vicinity of the splashdown.
Let's listen back into NASA, and again, they'll let us know in about 5 minutes now if they have regained communication with those 4 astronauts.
As it enters the period of peak heating in the Earth's atmosphere, the first tug of gravity being felt by Integrity's astronauts since their launch back on April 1st.
And of course, we are thinking of the families of pilot Victor Glover, mission pilot, Reed Weissman, the commander.
4.5 minutes until the end of the blackout period.
Christina Cook, 4.5 minutes to go until we hear from them again.
Time
Jeremy
to
Hansen.
Splashdown, 11 minutes, 33 seconds.
Of course, the Canadian astronaut. Everyone on board making history in their own way. The first Canadian to join them in a mission to the moon. This is the first time in many decades since the Apollo missions that we have sent humans back to the moon, and they made their own history, traveling farther than any astronauts who went before them, going to the far side of the moon and seeing with human eyes parts of the moon that have never been seen before, and sending back messages of hope and those extraordinary images. They have talked during their press conferences
the
about
landing and support officer reports that the P-3 has acquisition on Integrity.
About the importance of coming home. It was Victor Glover himself who
3.5 minutes left in this blackout period.
There you see it.
This is a visualization.
Oh, visualization.
Of,
so this is similar to the simulations we showed you earlier, only this one is from NASA. Let's listen.
Repelling of that heat on Integrity's heat shield.
I was saying Victor Glover, the mission pilot, was asked, what is he most looking forward to? And he said, splashdown. And who could argue with that? He also talked about this being like riding a fireball through the atmosphere, this incredible moment. And this visualization from NASA helps to explain this, why there would be a blackout during this period of time. The families of all of these astronauts.
Flight Dynamics reports that airborne assets in the vicinity of the splashdown zone do have a visual on Integrity. Still 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in our blackout period. Time to splashdown, 9 minutes, 35 seconds.
9 minutes until splashdown. Let's keep this visualization, but if we could add, Dave, our director in the control room, Trevor Rull, who is at a watch party at the San Diego Air and Space Museum. And Trevor, I gather the nerves can be felt in that room right now.
Absolutely, David, and what we are seeing is basically every single checkpoint that's being hit is being met with thunderous applause. You can hear a smattering right now. That's been happening continuously, 30 seconds after 30 seconds after 30 seconds after. And what we've been seeing are generations of families experiencing something that many of these people have never experienced before. I talked with one man here, an 86-year-old grandfather. He said he remembers watching the very first space launches. He remembers the Apollo flights. He remembers those first lunar missions. It inspired him to become a pilot and an engineer. Now, after 45 years of his own flight, he's retired. He is back here tonight with his grandchildren watching Artemis. And then at the same time, we're hearing from young people. There's two people behind me here, Lena, Olivia. These are students at UC San Diego who told me that they can't believe, when they learned about Artemis, they said, I can't believe it's happening in real life and not in the movies. That's how long it has been. What we've been hearing from family after family is that this is something that feels like a previous America would accomplish. Now, of course, we are in that tight window. Will it land safely? And of course, we know everyone's waiting on bated breath, but they are optimistic, David.
No question about that. A lot of optimism and a lot of prayers across this country tonight as we watch and wait for Artemis 2 to emerge in communication.
We're standing by for communications from the crew. We should be out of the blackout period less than a minute from now.
All right, let's listen. Less than a minute here to see if we can regain communications with the 4 astronauts on board: Victor Glover, Reed Weissman, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen.
We are now processing data from Integrity.
Which is a very good sign, right, Susan, that they are getting data. No communications yet with the astronauts, but they are receiving transmission from Integrity.
Now, this is great news.
Landing and support officer reports the small boats are en route to the splashdown target zone.
The vessels carrying the divers, members of the U.S. Navy standing by to race to that splashdown zone. And Susan, tell us what we're looking at right here.
It's the visual. It's the camera view of the reentry. It's no longer a visualization. And, you know, it looks healthy.
Well, they mentioned 6 minutes. We knew they would be 6 excruciating minutes, particularly.
Passing through 150,000 feet, our trajectory is perfect. We're getting intermittent views of Integrity. Still waiting to establish voice communication.
Integrity, Houston, comm check, post-blackout.
Houston, Integrity, we have you loud and clear.
Incredible.
Your trajectory is nominal, and your recovery teams have visual.
So there you have
Guidance
it.
looks good.
Artemis 2 responding
No action for the enabled internal camera controller fail.
to mission control.
Big cheers from the viewing room here in Mission Control as voice communication reestablished with Commander Reed Wiseman. For America and a waiting world, Integrity is 5.5 minutes away from coming home.
Well, it's not often when you sit here at the anchor desk when you feel chills. This is certainly one of them. History being made tonight, Artemis 2, the first
Passing
mission
100,000 feet now.
in many decades taking humans back to the moon. In fact, they went farther than
Range to splashdown 19 nautical miles.
19 nautical miles until splashdown. We were expecting it at about 8:06 or so Eastern time, 8:07 perhaps. So just about 5 minutes from now. They mentioned those divers are already en route. They clearly know where, certainly the
Integrity, impact to the camera controller fail is no Cab 1 views of the chutes.
we were expecting, hoping that we might get a view of some of these parachutes, though we're not entirely sure we
We're
will.
processing good data through the GPS system. A good view of Integrity. Time to splashdown 4.5 minutes.
4.5 minutes to splashdown. There's an elaborate sequence of parachutes here. The first deployed at around...
And a view of Integrity from the WB-57.
There you go.
Yeah.
We're at 50,000 feet.
At around 22,000 feet, you'll see the first parachutes here. Part of this sequence of chutes. I saw some movement right there. Was that a... There it is. You can see a flash of something. Not entirely
Not
sure.
yet.
It's one of the
Pyros
chutes
are
yet.
armed for forward bay cover jettison.
A flicker of something just above.
Here, you're going to see the jettison and then the drogue chutes.
And they deploy at about 22,000 feet, right,
Right,
Susan?
and they're the first ones to come out.
Yeah.
There they are.
There they are.
There they are, right there.
And then
And there
there
go the first series of
other ones right
parachutes.
away.
And we're on drogues.
And Houston, we're visual 2 drogues out the window.
Yep. The drogue.
Those parachutes right there will slow the spacecraft to about
Two good
200
drogue
miles an
chutes.
hour.
Next up,
We copy. We see them.
the deployment of pilot parachutes that will pull the main chutes out. Time to splash down 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
Well, it's just incredible to think 4 human beings inside that capsule, right? Who have just seen the far side of the moon and come back to tell us about it. And what a bond we've witnessed from them. The hug,
Perfect descent rate according to flight
Integrity,
dynamics.
Good rates on 2 drogues.
the symbol of the heart in their
We keep
photograph
the same on board.
that they sent back. And they named one of the craters in the moon that they discovered themselves after Reed Weissman's late wife, Carol. She died in 2020 of cancer. They'd been together for decades. And one of his fellow astronauts
Passing through 10,000 feet,
spoke of the moment
still on drogues.
because Reed couldn't say it himself, though he was moved, certainly, that the astronauts decided, let's name it after your late wife, Carol. So many stories they'll share with us. There's the second set
There we
right
go.
there.
Main chute deploy. We're at 5,000 feet.
Yes.
The crew we
Search and
met with,
recovery beacon has been activated on integrity.
the search and recovery beacon activated for those Navy divers who are
And
now
we have
racing
three
to the
good
site.
main
Out the window.
Good 3 main chutes, good reefing, good descent rate.
Good rates, and we see 3 good-looking parachutes.
This is picture perfect.
Integrity. Cabin pressure indicates no need for hydrazine checks.
Integrity copies.
This is a perfect descent for integrity. Its crew sounding hale and hearty on board.
Glad to hear
Time to splash down 1 minute, 15 seconds.
it. 1 minute, 15 seconds until splashdown in the Pacific Ocean off of San Diego. The USS John Murtha is in the region. Navy divers will race to the craft. They will deploy that inflatable around the
Integrity
capsule.
about to complete a journey spanning 694,481 miles from its launch from the Kennedy Space Center back on April 1st, and a trip around the moon.
I mean, these are words you have not heard in decades in this country. There are a lot of viewers watching tonight who remember this from the Apollo mission, several of them, those missions, but of course, a whole younger generation witnessing something that they've only read about in the history books. A little flash there at the capsule.
Passing through 1,000 feet.
Those 3 parachutes, of course, the end of that sequence, and certainly the ones that are doing most of the work in trying to slow this capsule, slow integrity down to about 20 miles per hour. There's the splashdown.
Command now.
Splashdown confirmed.
Copy splashdown. Waiting on VLDR.
Splashdown confirmed at 7:07 p.m. Central Time, 5:07 p.m. Pacific Time.
Which, by the
From
way,
the
is
pages
exactly
of
when
Jules
NASA said it would
Verne to a modern-day
happen.
mission
7
to the
minutes
moon,
past the hour.
A new chapter of the exploration of our celestial neighbor is complete. Integrity's astronauts back on Earth.
Back on Earth, in the Pacific. The divers will get there. They will look at the outside of Integrity to make sure
And the landing and support officer reports the vehicle is stable 1.
Stable, there you
we
go.
We still will be deploying the crew module uprighting system to maintain that orientation. A perfect bullseye splashdown for Integrity and its 4 astronauts.
We can breathe.
We can. We just want to see them now, right? And they will get to the craft, the divers. And as I was mentioning earlier, I just don't like to talk over NASA because they're so fascinating. I'm having fun listening in on them as well. But they will check the exterior of the capsule to make sure that there isn't any significant damage, to make sure it's safe to open the latch.
The unofficial splashdown time, 7:07 and 47 seconds p.m. Central Time. We'll get that refined for you.
Well, now they're just showing off.
They
tell us it's exactly when we said it would happen.
31 minutes, 35 seconds.
There will be an initial check.
And we're configuring for very low data rate.
They will initially check to make sure that all of the astronauts are feeling okay. And then they're going to take...
Once again, splashdown occurring in the Pacific, southwest of San Diego at 7:07 and 47 seconds p.m.
Integrity Houston, comm check on VLDR.
Suzo.